Hey guys, welcome back to the channel. In this video I'm going to show you how I'm prepping the block for paint and getting it absolutely clean and grease free to accept the paint. Now, as far as what I'm going to be using, I've chatted to a few people from Duke on our Facebook group. I spoke to also Michael Morris at the weekend and about the Glip tool subject for the internal of the engine. And I'll show you in a second. The Glip tool survived quite well in the hot tank after this was hot tanked, you see. So what I'm going to do, I'm erring on the side of caution. I think the benefits don't really outweigh the risks for me reapplying the Glip tool on the inside. Mainly because if it fails, I've read stories, horror stories of it coming off in sheets and obviously could block up the oil pickup, and we obviously don't want that. And so the Glip tool is still present on the inside, and I think I'm here on the side of caution and not going to redo it. Just thoroughly clean everything and go from there. Now, as far as the external part of the block, I'm kind of in a situation where I've just looked, and maybe some of you can answer this, but I'm going to go ahead and primer this anyway. But this did have Glip tool on the outside of the block, and it was then painted. But knowing from the finishing side, it's either mechanical or chemically bonded. So once the Glip tool goes down to a really well prepared surface, I'd want to put black over the top. And for the love of anything, I could not find anything from the MSDS sheets with Glip tool or anything on the forums. People do paint it over there, but they don't talk about preparation. Now, you have either mechanical or chemical bonding, and so I'm assuming there's a mechanical scuffing from a Scotch-Brite or something after the Glip tool is thoroughly dry to give it something to key for the black to attach to. What I've decided to do is I'm going to go with one product all the way through with the engine enamel paint. I'm going to prime it and semi-gloss, actually a low sheen black on the body. All the same product. I'm going with the Dupla color. It's tried and tested, withstands I think 600 degrees. So I'm here on the side of caution because introducing two different chemicals, my gut's telling me not to do that, but because I can't find anything about almost guaranteeing that that black will hold on to the Glip tool. So what I'm going to do, I'm going to show you what I've done so far, and we'll get on and prime this block, and I'll maybe even shoot some black tonight. So let's get you in close and I'll show you what I've done. So obviously here's the valley of the top of the block. I've gone over it with a wire brush attachment on the power drill. Be careful with that because you don't want anything flying off and get you in the eye. I've been using this one for the broader surfaces. And then this area where I couldn't really get this in effectively, I used this guy. So enabled me to get in and really get into all those corners. Now, I wasn't racing the drill really high speed, and this is a medium grit one. You can go a little bit more aggressive, it wouldn't hurt. But it cleaned up really well. And so what I'm going to do now, I'm going to show you what I do next. Basically, we're going to wash it down with denatured alcohol and then acetone, which is like a hot solvent. It evaporates very quickly. And then I'm going to do one more thing at the end. Now, I'll talk to it when I get to it, but let's actually, I started to clean this. I'm going to go to the other side of this side of the block, so that hasn't been touched with any degrease or anything, and you'll see how much crap is still on there. Let me turn the block. Right, I mean, that looks pretty clean, doesn't it? Like I say, wire brush that guy, but watch what comes off when this is the first go, this is nice white lint-free cloth. Give that a little wiping over. Look at that, see? Now this has been hot tanked as well. So what I do is use this rag all over the block and then rotating and keeping it nice and wet. Go over it, you get the picture. So I do this until this rag starts to not get all crap all over it, essentially. work it. You probably could get a little nail brush in all to these little crevices and everything. But so anyway, that is how to clean it. That's my first phase. So this is denatured alcohol, right? There's another, show another white piece here, look. Takes a lot to wick all that, get all that, those pores clean. See, it's starting to lighten. So let me do that, and then I'll go over it with the same types of rags with acetone as well. Let me do that and I'll get back to you. Right, I hit it all with denatured alcohol. Now this is acetone. It's a hot solvent. It evaporates very quickly, as you can see. But there will still be grime on here. Pretty sure of that. See? You go over it with that. I will be masking these plugs off as well, so. Right, now I've gone over that several times with acetone, and this is the reason why you don't want to mask, as I did, too early, because there is still moisture and stuff hidden in the pores of the casting. The most part of the acetone and the alcohol completely evaporated. So watch this next step here. Take matte gas and watch the surface carefully, and you watch the way it pulls out. You zoom in a bit. That's about as far as I can get, but watch this area. I'll just do this area. Now obviously because it's matte gas, I'm trying to avoid anywhere where it's taped, and I'm just going to have to use the acetone until it comes up white. But so don't tape up first. Do this and then tape up. So watch this. See? See that? That's wicking all of the moisture out of the pores of that cast there. I tell you, once that's cooled off, that's ready for priming. Now I'm going to buzz over the whole engine like that, obviously being very careful near the tape areas. On the other side I did catch it a little bit, but I just put it out, and then I'll mask these plugs up. But this will make the surface really good place for the primer to lock onto all those pores, and be sure that there's no grease and crap inside hidden to give you surprises later on. So let me get on with this. I'm going to go, it's going to be a while doing this, and mask these other things up, then we can get to the priming stage. Right, now I've gone completely over it. I've used our torch to pull out and wick any moisture that's hidden in the pores, any grease, oil and all that stuff. So I'm pretty confident that this is as clean as it's going to be. And we've finished off all our masking. So let's shake the can for the primer. As I say, this is heat resistant engine primer as well by Duplicolor, and get that off, give that a good few minutes shake, and we'll read the instructions of course as far as recoat time and recoat windows, etc. Let's have a look here. Okay, a couple of light coats and then one medium coat, all within an hour of each other. So there is a recoat window, so it's chemically bonding to each subsequent coat, and then the top coats need to go on within an hour of the last coat. So all makes pretty sense. It allows flash time, but also leaves it open, ready, so it chemically bonds to each next coat. That's pretty good. So a nice light coat. Not trying to get full coverage. Let's do this. Obviously do this outside. So I say, we're not trying to cover it in one. That's where I think a lot of people go wrong. They try and pile on too much. That should do it there. Do this little area. Rotate the block. The corners. Oh, forgot to mask off that drain plug hole. We'll get that in a sec. If I attack at this angle, I'm not going to get any in here. I have masked off the mating surfaces of the sump area. Alright, I just put the final medium coat on, so that's 3 coats of primer. Let that flash off for 10-15 minutes or so, and then we'll start putting the first coat of black down. I bought the low gloss black. Now let's see what that looks like. I don't like shiny black, it's just not me. I think it looks better with that sort of softer sheen. The main thing is with doing any of this kind of stuff is that just take your time, don't be in a big rush, you know. Obviously preparation, we've all heard that before, preparation is key, but also to be patient is key as well. No good preparing it all really well and then rushing the last bit because you're impatient to see it. So let the dry times follow what it says on the can, let the flash times happen, and the recoat window is important. If you leave it too long, then you're not getting the chemical bond from one coat to the next, and if you did leave it too long, you'd have to scuff up the surface to give it a mechanical bond again, which wouldn't be the end of the world, but I prefer to get it all done in one, so it's essentially one coat all bonded together. So I think we're ready for the first light coat of the low gloss black. Let's see what this looks like. Still see some of the primer sticking through, that's okay because we'll just do this light coat. That's the valley done, first coat. Let's spin this guy and get the sides done. Alright, 10 minutes. Well, there it is, final third medium wet coat. So let that dry, take all the tape off, and then we can thoroughly wash the block down, make sure all the oil ways and everything's minty clean before any kind of reassembly. So yeah, I'm pretty happy with the sheen. It's still drying, so it's a little shiny in areas, but it should dry to a more of a satin finish. As you can see, the Gliptal survived okay. They've got some thin areas here, down here, but generally it's survived, and I think I'm just, like I say, going to err on the side of caution and leave it as it is. You can see they cleaned everything very well, and this obviously will get another couple of cleans. So I'll wash the whole block down, make sure
any possible debris from the machine shop is out of there, and then I'll give the bare surfaces a wipe down with WD-40 so it doesn't flash rust or anything, in preparation for the first stage of putting this thing back together, which is obviously checking our clearances, our housing clearances with our bearings in, plastic gauge. I've actually got a bore gauge as well, and I'll probably do that as well. And then we do have to show you here, we do have to remount our arms on that so that I can have this area above the turning head here, so I can access the rear main seal to install the seal and cut it and all that good stuff. So let me just turn it round, and I want to give you one more tip before I go, before you paint your own block. So there it all is with the masking tape taken off. Looks really nice. I'm happy with the sheen level. You know, it's got a slight sheen to it. They call this low gloss. It's basically like a satin, really, I think. So the other tip, besides not doing what I did, as in taping everything up and then blowtorching, so you want to blowtorch, get it completely done, and then tape up, obviously. So one other thing, don't tape the bolts. Okay, you're thinking, well, hang on a minute, why? Because I can tell you what a royal pain in the butt taking the masking tape off the bolts is. Once there's paint on it, there's little bits of crap everywhere in the thread. It's a royal pain. So again, something I should have done if I had been thinking correctly is just get some tubing, not necessarily this size, but get some tubing and put bloody tubing on it. So you can cut to different lengths, some old tubing, and just go, boom, done. Unmasked. It's once I realised I should have done that, I was kicking myself, because what a pain in the butt these were to get off, and all these things. But anyway, well, you live and learn, don't you? Well, I hope you enjoyed that video, painting the engine block. Pretty straightforward, really. In the next video, I'm going to start shooting that in a minute. Actually, is starting to prepare it for the bearing shells, for the main shells, for the crank shaft to go back in, and measuring and all that good stuff. So, well, actually, factual fact, the next thing to do is to wash this thing down and get it absolutely spiffy clean after all this masking and painting stuff. So thanks a lot for watching, guys. Please stay tuned, and I will see you in the next video. Please hit like, share, subscribe, and take care of yourself. Bye bye.